Happy New Year. Welcome to the first Vini Curiosity case of the year. Let's get straight into the wines. First one, very old friend of ours, Favaro. Now, this is a Tradici Mesi from the 2018 vintage, 18 vintage off the scale. Gave quantity and it gave quality. Very, very unusual. The Erbaluce was immaculate to the point that the vines actually were knackered in 2019. They just died and didn't give so much wine. The 18, they gave their heart and soul, and you taste that in this wine. Now, the wine's from the Canavese region. Canavese region is above Torino. It's on the entrance up. If you're driving up from Torino to Mont Blanc, it's on the way up there. So it's most famous for its Erbaluce. So Erbaluce di Caluso is a DOCG, so it has the highest classification for the wine. And the quality of the wine is extraordinary. Camillo also, you'll be excited here this time. I've got his Burgundy books. It's been published in English as well. I'll grab one in a second. But he also is the top writer on Burgundies in Italy. So he's a real Renaissance guy. Fabulous winemaker, real comprehension of this. It's been aged 13 months in a combination of concrete eggs and barrique, and it gives intensity, complexity, it gives linear freshness, but also a certain richness, weight and breadth to the wine. Genuine, great Italian white wine. Then we go over to my friend Roberto Picech and Alessia and their two lovely children. This one's named after his mum. So this is Jelka. Jelka is an extraordinary wine, and this time it shed its skin once more and it's been reborn as something slightly different. So some of you may have had the 13 before, and 13 is the end of a line from which started when Roberto took over the winery from his dad. And in his dad's day, the yields were twice the size that they are now, because the Collio could give quantity and quality. And when I say quantity, I mean colossal quantity. But he cut the yields right down, and to 9 tons per hectare, this sort of amount much, much lower. And the idea was to make great wines that would age. So the Jelka was always designed to be a great wine that would age. But it kind of developed along the way, and it got tweaked and changed until it's reached this level now where he's looking for a more really serious. I'll tell you how it's made briefly. So the main grape is Friulano, which is the classic grape of the Collio, even though for other reasons the Ribolla Gialla is the yellow of the Collio. Is for some reason they pinned their hopes on Ribolla Gialla. I don't quite understand why. Anyway, so the Friulano is just destemmed. It's not crushed, it's just destemmed. So a destemming machine is like a big washing machine. And so it's fermented with its skins in a big open wooden cask. And in that big wooden open cask, it's natural yeasts, so it ferments with its own yeasts, with the yeasts that are in the winery, on the skins, and it does that for just over 2 weeks. And after that period of time, the wine's racked off and it's stored in one big barrel on the fine lees, which are just the yeasts, basically. At the same time, concurrently, the other two grapes that are in this blend, the Malvasia Ristriana and the Ribolla Gialla, are fermented in tonneau, which are barriques, large double-sized barriques. And at the end of 12 months, whole wine's put together and put into a concrete egg where it stays for a couple of years. After that, it's bottled, held for a year, and then it's bottled unfined, unfiltered. This is treated like a great Barolo. It's treated like some of Italy's best red wines. And the reason for that is it's designed to be a wine to age. So it's 2015, it's already 6 years old, but 10 years, it just isn't a problem for this wine. We will taste this wine together at tasting, but I'll tell you a bit more about that later. But it's still quite young, but still very, very lovely. Great, great wine. If we then move on, and we're going to drink Stefano Mancini. We love Stefano. We haven't had his wine for a little while. Some of you may have missed that, and it's been great sadness. The main wine of the Marche is Verdicchio. Verdicchio di Castelli di Jesi is the one from the northern part of the Marche, or northern into the centre. And And one of the castle towns of the Iesi, Castelli di Iesi, is Morro d'Alba. Now, Morro d'Alba also has Lacrima, and Lacrima is a grape type. It's not just a grape, it's got nothing to do with Lacrima Christi that you'll find down in the south. If my finger gets this about right, it's about around there, isn't it? I'm not very good at this, I always do that backwards. But it's not from there, it's purely from around the town of Morro d'Alba, which, let's see if I can get this right. There. Yeah, it's all backwards, but I'm getting there. I'll get better. And this is I think it's his best edition of the grape. The grape gives these amazing aromatic qualities. So it gives almost Turkish delight flavors, rose, Turkish delight, lovely, rich, deep berry fruit running through it. This is hugely popular with the Sommelier Association of Italy because it's something very, very different. Stefano's arguably the king of Lacrima. He makes 4 different editions of it. I buy 3 of them. So this is Superiore. This one's at 13.5. It's the most alcoholic of the normal ones. Then the Classico is at 12.5 from the 2018 vintage. And the Selezione di Frutta is 11.5. So lovely and light. Perfect. It's a Macerato Carbonique. And then there's also a sweet one, which is the Re Sole. You can see them on a website, they're all there. But magnificent wine, not really for aging, just drink it and enjoy it. It's my hot tip. Then if we go to Le Cinciole, you've had a wine from him before. You've had the Petrosca. So you've had the single vineyard Sangiovese. This is the Annata, the classic wine of the estate, and I've been dying to get this into your case. There isn't that much left. It's a 2016. We've got a few cases in reserve, and I think it's magnificent. I think it's one of the, it's just a great Chianti. It's high altitude, so you have that fineness of fruit, but you also have the depth. It's biodynamic winemaking, absolutely clean, no chemicals used on this wine at all. Beautiful, beautiful wine. It's exactly what Sangiovese should taste like. I'm very proud of selling it. It's as good as anything we've ever bought, I believe. So great wine. Then if we go to the last 2 wines, both of these are from Nebbiolo. Nebbiolo is a grape that Barolo is made from. But we're going further north. We're going into the Alto Piemonte. And some of you will know I have a mild obsession with the Alto Piemonte. And the great villages, okay, when you think Nebbiolo, think Nebbiolo villages as well. So at the lower level, you have the Nebbiolo Langhe, Nebbiolo, you don't have one for Asti, but you do have Nebbiolo Piemontesi now. You have Coste della Sesia, you have Coste Novaresi. So you've got various different DOCs which are allowed to include Nebbiolo at the base. But the really important ones are the village wines. So the village wines are Barolo, Barbaresco, Roero, Lessona, Bramatera, Bocca, Gattinara, and Sizzano. There are a few more, but it just sounds like I'm listing stuff for the sake of it. Sizzano is one of the very oldest. So this one's from Villa Guelpa. And back in the 50s, Sizzano was big. This was bigger than Barolo once. Anyway, it's nearly all died out. And it's a really interesting area because you've got beautiful slopes which are just gently moving down. You can see out across to the Alps and out across Barolo from these slopes. And this is aged in large botti. It makes 5,000 bottles. I'll double check that. It'll be correct in your notes. 2017 vintage. It's drinking really easily. This arguably is one of the easiest DOCs for Nebbiolo. It gives a softness in the mouth. It also has a freshness of acidity. It's mouth cleaning. It's soft. It's easy. It's beautiful wine. On the other hand, then we have Massimo Kledico, this is his Riserva 2013. Nothing really changes much with Massimo. So this is the new label, which looks exactly the same as the old label. The wines are immaculate. They're very tough old school winemaking. So extended skin contact during the fermentation, long aging periods, botti, concrete tanks. There's hardly a barrique in the place. So he only makes 15,000 bottles, but arguably one of the oldest names and greatest Lessonas of them all. The terroir here is fantastic because it's sand on top of volcanic outcrops, and it's at a very high altitude. So it gives you something entirely different. But this is a wine to catch it when it's young. Don't catch it when it's young. Give it some age if you can. If you are going to drink it when it's young, do open it early, please. Okay, so that's the wines. And then the last thing I was going to talk about is the tasting. You will notice you have 6 tasting measures in your box, or on top of your box, actually. And this time I'm giving you the tasting. There are 2 reasons for that one. I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. It's been fantastic. I'm loving the wine club. Second reason is I just want to see how you enjoy the experience, because this whole tasting idea was actually invented for Vini Curiosity members, because you get these 6 lovely bottles and you don't always drink them straight away. You drink them in your tasting windows. You're all lovely, well, not all of you, but there's a high degree of compliance, and you're drinking them at the right time, which unfortunately means that I've quite often run out of stock by the time that you get around to drinking them. So this time I want you to taste them straight away, see how so you can evaluate when you think the wine's going to be ready, what you're going to have it with, not just my suggestions, so you can do it as well. And tasting together is good fun. And actually the technology side of this, these are the bottles, little 60 cl bottles, and don't worry, you don't have to fill them, I'll fill them for you. But these give you a good tasting measure. We can do the tasting online, so we can all taste together, which in this case I don't think is a bad thing. I'm not the biggest fan of online wine tasting, but this actually works because you get to taste them all at home. 6 measures is the best part of half a bottle, so don't have any problems with worrying about driving. We can all talk together. We can meet from all over the place. And it's a very, very small group that we're tasting amongst ourselves for the wine club. So it should be really lovely, actually. So I'm really hoping you enjoy it. And in the future, yes, I'll be charging for it, but only the price of the wine and the bottles. We're not trying to be profitable with this. We're just trying to introduce a really interesting extra bit to the wine club. So that's where we are. I really hope to see you at the wine tasting, and I'll catch up with you later. All the best. Bye.